The consummate leader cultivates the moral law, and strictly adheres to method and discipline. Thus it is in his power to control success. In respect of military method, we have firstly measurement, secondly estimation of quantity, thirdly calculation, fourthly balancing of chances, fifthly victory. Measurement owes its existence to earth, estimation of quantity to measurement, calculation to estimation of quantity, balancing of chances to calculation, and victory to balancing of chances. A victorious army opposed to a routed one is a pound's weight placed in the scale against a single grain. The onrush of a conquering force is like the bursting of pent-up waters into a chasm 1,000 fathoms deep. 5. Energy. Sun Tzu said, the control of a large force is the same principle as the control of a few men. It is merely a question of dividing up their numbers. Fighting with a large army under your command is nowise different from fighting with a small one. It is merely a question of instituting signs and signals. To ensure that your whole host may withstand the brunt of the enemy's attack and remain unshaken, this is effected by maneuvers, direct and indirect. That the impact of your army may be like a grindstone dashed against an egg, this is effected by the science of weak points and strong. In all fighting, the direct method may be used for joining battle, but indirect methods will be needed in order to secure victory. Indirect tactics, efficiently applied, are as inexhaustible as heaven and earth, unending as the flow of rivers and streams. Like the sun and moon, they end but to begin anew. Like the 4 seasons, they pass away to return once more. There are not more than 5 musical notes, yet the combinations of these 5 give rise to more melodies than can ever be heard. There are not more than 5 primary colours, blue, yellow, red, white and black, yet in combination they produce more hues than can ever be seen. There are not more than 5 cardinal states, sour, acrid, salt, sweet, bitter, yet combinations of them yield more flavours than can ever be tasted. In battle there are not more than 2 methods of attack, the direct and the indirect, yet these 2 in combination give rise to an endless series of manoeuvres. The direct and the indirect lead on to each other in turn. It is like moving in a circle, you never come to an end. Who can exhaust the possibilities of their combination? The onset of troops is like the rush of a torrent which will even roll stones along in its course. The quality of decision is like the well-timed swoop of a falcon which enables it to strike and destroy its victim. Therefore, the good fighter will be terrible in his onset and prompt in his decision. Energy may be likened to the bending of a crossbow, decision to the releasing of a trigger. Amid the turmoil and tumult of battle, there may be seeming disorder, and yet no real disorder at all. Amid confusion and chaos, your array may be without head or tail, yet it will be proof against defeat. Simulated disorder postulates perfect discipline. Simulated fear postulates courage. Simulated weakness postulates strength. Hiding order beneath the cloak of disorder is simply a question of subdivision. Concealing courage under a show of timidity presupposes a fund of latent energy. Masking strength with weakness is to be effected by tactical dispositions. Thus, one who is skillful at keeping the enemy on the move maintains deceitful appearances, according to which the enemy will act. He sacrifices something, that the enemy may snatch at it. By holding out baits, he keeps him on the march. Then, with a body of picked men, he lies in wait for him. The clever combatant looks to the effect of combined energy, and does not require too much from individuals. Hence his ability to pick out the right men and utilize combined energy. When he utilizes combined energy, his fighting men become, as it were, like unto rolling logs or stones. For it is the nature of a log or stone to remain motionless on level ground, and to move when on a slope, if four-cornered, to come to a standstill, but if rounded, to go rolling down. Thus, the energy developed by good fighting men is as the momentum of a round stone rolled down a mountain thousands of feet in height. So much on the subject of energy. 6. Weak points and strong. Sun Tzu said, "Whoever is first in the field and awaits the coming of the enemy will be fresh for the fight. Whoever is second in the field and has to hasten to battle will arrive exhausted." Therefore, the clever combatant imposes his will on the enemy, but does not allow the enemy's will to be imposed on him. By holding out advantages to him, he can cause the enemy to approach of his own accord, or by inflicting damage, he can make it impossible for the enemy to draw near. If the enemy is taking his ease, he can harass him. If well supplied with food, he can starve him out. If quietly encamped, he can force him to move. Appear at points which the enemy must hasten to defend. March swiftly to places where you are not expected. An army may march great distances without distress if it marches through country where the enemy is not. You can be sure of succeeding in your attacks if you only attack places which are undefended. You can ensure the safety of your defence if you only hold positions that cannot be attacked. Hence, that general is skillful in attack whose opponent does not know what to defend, and he is skillful in defence whose opponent does not know what to attack. O divine art of subtlety and secrecy, through you we learn to be invisible, through you inaudible, and hence we can hold the enemy's fate in our hands. You may advance and be absolutely irresistible if you make for the enemy's weak points. You may retire and be safe from pursuit if your movements are more rapid than those of the enemy. If we wish to fight, the enemy can be forced to an engagement even though he be sheltered behind a high rampart and a deep ditch. All we need to do is attack some other place that he will be obliged to relieve. If we do not wish to fight, we can prevent the enemy from engaging us even though the lines of our encampment be merely traced out on the ground. All we need to do is throw something odd and unaccountable in his way. By discovering the enemy's dispositions and remaining invisible ourselves, we can keep our forces concentrated, while the enemy's must be divided. We can form a single united body, while the enemy must split up into fractions. Hence there will be a whole pitted against separate parts of a whole, which means that we shall be many to the enemy's few. And if we are able thus to attack an inferior force with a superior one, our opponents will be in dire straits. The spot where we intend to fight must not be made known, for then the enemy will have to prepare against a possible attack at several different points, and his forces being thus distributed in many directions, the numbers we shall have to face at any given point will be proportionately few. For should the enemy strengthen his van, he will weaken his rear. Should he strengthen his rear, he will weaken his van. Should he strengthen his left, he will weaken his right. Should he strengthen his right, he will weaken his left. If he sends reinforcements everywhere, he will everywhere be weak. Numerical weakness comes from having to prepare against possible attacks. Numerical strength from compelling our adversary to make these preparations against us. Knowing the place and the time of the coming battle, we may concentrate from the greatest distances in order to fight. But if neither time nor place be known, then the left wing will be impotent to succour the right equally impotent to succour the left, the van unable to relieve the rear, and the rear to support the van. How much more so if the furthest portions of the army are anything under 100 li apart, and even the nearest are separated by several li. Though, according to my estimate, the soldiers of Yue exceed our own in number, that shall advantage them nothing in the matter of victory. I say then that victory can be achieved. Though the enemy be stronger in numbers, we may prevent him from fighting. Scheme so as to discover his plans and the likelihood of their success. Rouse him and learn the principle of his activity or inactivity. Force him to reveal himself so as to find out his vulnerable spots. Carefully compare the opposing army with your own, so that you may know where strength is superabundant and where it is deficient. In making tactical dispositions, the highest pitch you can attain is to conceal them. Conceal your dispositions, and you will be safe from the prying of the subtlest spies, from the machinations of the wisest brains. All men can see the tactics whereby I conquer, but what none can see is the strategy out of which victory is evolved. Do not repeat the tactics which have gained you one victory, but let your methods be regulated by infinite variety of circumstances. Military tactics are like unto water, for water in its natural course runs away from high places and hastens downwards. So in war, the way is to avoid what is strong and to strike at what is weak. Water shapes its course according to the nature of the ground over which it flows. The soldier works out his victory in relation to the foe whom he is facing. Therefore, just as water retains no constant shape, so in warfare there are no constant conditions. He who can modify his tactics in relation to his opponent and thereby succeed in winning may be called a heaven-born captain. The 5 elements, water, fire, wood, metal, earth, are not always equally predominant. The 4 seasons make way for each other in turn. There are short days and long. The moon has its periods of waning and waxing. 7. Maneuvering. Sun Tzu said, "In war, the general receives his commands from the sovereign. Having collected an army and concentrated his forces, he must blend and harmonize the different elements thereof before pitching his camp. After that comes tactical maneuvering, than which there is nothing more difficult. The difficulty of tactical maneuvering consists in turning the devious into the direct and misfortune into gain. Thus, to take a long and circuitous route, after enticing the enemy out of the way, and those starting after him to contrive to reach the goal before him, shows knowledge of the artifice of deviation. Maneuvering with an army is advantageous. With an undisciplined multitude, most dangerous. If you set a fully equipped army in march in order to snatch an advantage, the chances are that you will be too late. On the other hand, to detach a flying column for the purpose involves the sacrifice of its baggage and stores. Thus, if you order your men to roll up their buff coats and make forced marches without halting day or night, covering double the usual distance at a stretch, doing 100 li in order to wrest an advantage, the leaders of all your 3 divisions will fall into the hands of the enemy. The stronger men will be in front, the jaded ones will fall behind, and on this plan only 1/10 of your army will reach its destination. If you march 50 li in order to outmaneuver the enemy, you will lose the leader of your first division, and only half your force will reach the goal. If you march 30 li with the same object, 2/3 of your army will arrive. We may take it then that an army without its baggage train is lost. Without provisions it is lost, without bases of supply it is lost. We cannot enter into alliances until we are acquainted with the designs of our neighbours. We are not fit to lead an army on the march unless we are familiar with the face of the country, its mountains and forests, its pitfalls and precipices, its marshes and swamps. We shall be unable to turn natural advantage to account unless we make use of local guides. In war, practice dissimulation, and you will succeed. Whether to concentrate or divide your troops must be decided by circumstances. Let your rapidity be that of the wind, your compactness that of the forest. In raiding and plundering, be like fire, in immovability like a mountain. Let your plans be dark and impenetrable as night, and when you move, fall like a thunderbolt. When you plunder a countryside, let the spoil be divided amongst your men. When you capture new territory, cut it up into allotments for the benefit of the soldiery. Ponder and deliberate before you make a move. He will conquer who has learnt the artifice of deviation. Such is the art of manoeuvring. The Book of Army Management says, "On the field of battle, the spoken word does not carry far. Hence the institution of gongs and drums. Nor can ordinary objects be seen clearly enough. Hence the institution of banners and flags." Gongs and drums, banners and flags are means whereby the ears and eyes of the host may be focused on one particular point. The host thus forming a single united body, it is impossible either for the brave to advance alone or for the cowardly to retreat alone. This is the art of handling large masses of men. In night fighting, then, make such use of signal fires and drums, and in fighting by day of flags and banners, as a means of influencing the ears and eyes of your army. A whole army may be robbed of its spirit. A commander-in-chief may be robbed of his presence of mind. Now a soldier's spirit is keenest in the morning. By noonday it has begun to flag, and in the evening his mind is bent only on returning to camp. A clever general, therefore, avoids an army when its spirit is keen, but attacks it when it is sluggish and inclined to return. This is the art of studying moods. Disciplined and calm, to await the appearance of disorder and hubbub amongst the enemy. This is the art of retaining self-possession. To be near the goal while the enemy is still far from it. To wait at ease while the enemy is toiling and struggling. To be well fed while the enemy is famished. This is the art of husbanding one's strength. To refrain from intercepting an enemy whose banners are in perfect order. To refrain from attacking an army drawn up in calm and confident array. This is the art of studying circumstances. It is a military axiom not to advance uphill against the enemy, nor to oppose him when he comes downhill. Do not pursue an enemy who simulates flight. Do not attack soldiers whose temper is keen. Do not swallow bait offered by the enemy. Do not interfere with an army that is returning home. When you surround an army, leave an outlet free. Do not press a desperate foe too hard. Such is the art of warfare. 8. Variation in tactics. Sun Tzu said, "In war, the general receives his commands from the sovereign, collects his army, and concentrates his forces." When in difficult country, do not encamp. In country where high roads intersect, join hands with your allies. Do not linger in dangerously isolated positions. In hemmed-in situations, you must resort to stratagem. In desperate position, you must fight. There are roads which must not be followed, armies which must not be attacked, towns which must not be besieged, positions which must not be contested, commands of the sovereign which must not be obeyed. The general who thoroughly understands the advantages that accompany variation of tactics knows how to handle his troops. The general that does not understand these may be well acquainted with the configuration of the country, yet he will not be able to turn his knowledge to practical account. So, the student of war, who is unversed in the art of war, of varying his plans, even though he be acquainted with the 5 advantages, will fail to make the best use of his men. Hence, in the wise leader's plans, considerations of advantage and of disadvantage will be blended together. If our expectation of advantage be tempered in this way, we may succeed in accomplishing the essential part of our scheme. If, on the other hand, in the midst of difficulties we are always ready to seize an advantage, we may extricate ourselves from misfortune. Reduce the hostile chiefs by inflicting damage on them, and make trouble for them, and keep them constantly engaged. Hold out specious allurements, and make them rush to any given point. The art of war teaches us to rely not on the likelihood of the enemy's not coming, but on our own readiness to receive it, not on the chance of his not attacking, but rather on the fact that we have made our position unassailable. There are 5 dangerous faults which may affect a general. 1. recklessness, which leads to destruction. 2. Cowardice, which leads to capture. 3. A hasty temper, which can be provoked by insults. 4. A delicacy of honour, which is sensitive to shame. And 5. Over-solicitude for his men, which exposes him to worry and trouble. These are the 5 besetting sins of general, ruinous to the conduct of war. When an army is overthrown and its leader slain, the cause will surely be found among these 5 dangerous faults. Let them be a subject of meditation. 9. The army on the march. Sun Tzu said, "We come now to the question of encamping the army and observing signs of the enemy. Pass quickly over mountains and keep in the neighbourhood of valleys. Camp in high places facing the sun. Do not climb heights in order to fight." So much for mountain warfare. After crossing a river, you should get far away from it. When an invading force crosses a river in time of march, do not advance to meet it in midstream. It will be best to let half the army get across and then deliver your attack. If you are anxious to fight, you should not go to meet the invader near a river which he has to cross. Moor your craft higher up than the enemy and facing the sun. Do not move upstream to meet the enemy. So much for river warfare. In crossing salt marshes, your sole concern should be to get over them quickly without any delay. If forced to fight in a salt marsh, you should have water and grass near you. Get your back to a clump of trees. So much for operations in salt marshes. In dry, level country, take up an easily accessible position with rising ground to your right and on your rear, so that the danger may be in front and safety behind. So much for campaigning in flat country. These are the 4 useful branches of military knowledge which enable the Yellow Emperor to vanquish 4 several sovereigns. All armies prefer high ground to low, and sunny places to dark. If you are careful of your men and camp on hard ground, the army will be free from disease of every kind, and this will spell victory. When you come to a hill or a bank, occupy the sunny side with the slope on your right rear. Thus you will at once act for the benefit of your soldiers and utilize the natural advantages of the ground. When in consequence of heavy rains up country, a river which you wish to ford is swollen and flecked with foam, you must wait until it subsides. Country in which there are precipitous cliffs with torrents running between, deep natural hollows, confined places, tangled thickets, quagmires and crevasses, should be left with all possible speed and not approached. While we keep away from such places, we should get the enemy to approach them. While we face them, we should let the enemy have them in the rear. If in the neighbourhood of your camp there should be any hilly country, ponds surrounded by aquatic grass, hollow basins filled with reeds, or woods with thick undergrowth, they must be carefully rooted out and searched, for these are places where men in ambush or insidious spies are likely to be lurking. When the enemy is close at hand and remains quiet, he is relying on the natural strength of his position. When he keeps aloof and tries to provoke a battle, he is anxious for the other side to advance. If his place of encampment is easy of access, he is tendering a bait. Movement amongst the trees of a forest shows that the enemy is advancing. The appearance of a number of screens in the midst of thick grass means that the enemy wants to make us suspicious. The rising of birds in their flight is the sign of an ambuscade. Startled beasts indicate that a sudden attack is coming. When there is dust rising in a high column, it is the sign of chariots advancing. When the dust is low but spread over a wide area, it betokens the approach of infantry. When it branches out in different directions, it shows that parties have been sent to collect firewood. A few clouds of dust moving to and fro signify that the army is encamping. Humble words and increased preparations are signs that the enemy is about to advance. Violent language and driving forward as if to the attack are signs that he will retreat. When the light chariots come out first and take up a position on the wings, it is a sign that the enemy is forming for battle. Peace proposals, unaccompanied by a sworn covenant, indicate a plot. When there is much running about and the soldiers fall into rank, it means that the critical moment has come. When some are seen advancing and some retreating, it is a lure. When the soldiers stand leaning on their spears, they are faint from want of food. If those who are sent to draw water begin by drinking themselves, the army is suffering from thirst. If the enemy sees an advantage to be gained and makes no effort to secure it, the soldiers are exhausted. If birds gather on any spot, it is unoccupied. Clamour by night betokens nervousness. If there is a disturbance in the camp, the general's authority is weak. If the banners and flags are shifted about, sedition is afoot. If the officers are angry, it means that the men are weary. When an army feeds its horses with grain and kills its cattle for food, and when men do not hang their cooking pots over the campfires, showing that they will not return to their tents, you may know that they are determined to fight to the death. The sight of men whispering together in small knots or speaking in subdued tones points to a disaffection among the rank and file. Too frequent rewards signify that the enemy is at the end of his resources. Too many punishments betray a condition of dire distress. To begin by bluster, but afterwards to take fright at the enemy's numbers, shows a supreme lack of intelligence. When envoys are sent with compliments in their mouths, it is a sign that the enemy wishes for a truce. If the enemy's troops march up angrily and remain facing ours for a long time, without either joining battle or taking themselves off again, the situation is one that demands great vigilance and circumspection. If our troops are no more in number than the enemy, that is amply sufficient. It only means that no direct attack can be made. What we can do is simply to concentrate all our available strength, keep a close watch on the enemy, and obtain reinforcements. He who exercises no forethought but makes light of his opponents is sure to be captured by them. If soldiers are punished before they have grown attached to you, they will not prove submissive, and unless submissive, then will be practically useless. If, when soldiers have become attached to you, punishments are not enforced, they will still be useless. Therefore, soldiers must be treated in the first instance with humanity, but kept under control by means of iron discipline. This is a certain road to victory. If in training soldiers commands are habitually enforced, the army will be well disciplined. If not, its discipline will be bad. If a general shows confidence in his men, but always insists on his orders being obeyed, the gain will be mutual. 10. Terrain. Sun Tzu said, "We may distinguish 6 kinds of terrain, to wit, 1. Accessible ground, 2. Entangling ground, 3. Temporizing ground, 4. Narrow passes, 5. Precipitous heights, and 6. Positions at a great distance from the enemy." Ground which can be freely traversed by both sides is called accessible. With regard to ground of this nature, be before the enemy in occupying the raised and sunny spots, and carefully guard your line of supplies. Then you will be able to fight with advantage. Ground which can be abandoned but is hard to reoccupy is called entangling. From a position of this sort, if the enemy is unprepared, you may sally forth and defeat him. But if the enemy is prepared for your coming and you fail to defeat him, then returning being impossible, disaster ensues. When the position is such that neither side will gain by making the first move, it is called temporizing ground. In a position of this sort, even though the enemy should offer us an attractive bait, it will be advisable not to stir forth, but rather to retreat, thus enticing the enemy in his turn. Then, when part of his army has come out, we may deliver our attack with advantage. With regard to narrow passes, armies, if you can occupy them first, let them be strongly garrisoned and await the advent of the enemy. Should the army forestall you in occupying a pass, do not go after him if the pass is fully garrisoned, but only if it is weakly garrisoned. With regard to precipitous heights, if you are beforehand with your adversary, you should occupy the raised and sunny spots, and there wait for him to come up. If the enemy has occupied him before you, do not follow him, but retreat and try to entice him away. If you are situated a great distance from the enemy, and the strength of the two armies is equal, it is not easy to provoke a battle, and fighting will be to your disadvantage. These 6 are the principles connected with earth. The general who has attained a responsible post must be careful to study them. Now an army is exposed to 6 several calamities, not arising from natural causes, but from faults for which the general is responsible. These are 1. Flight, 2. Insubordination, 3. Collapse, 4. Ruin, 5. Disorganization, and 6. Rout. Other conditions being equal, if one force is hurled against another 10 times its size, the result will be the flight of the former. When the common soldiers are too strong and their officers too weak, the result is insubordination. When the officers are too strong and the common soldiers too weak, the result is collapse. When the higher officers are angry and insubordinate, meeting the enemy give battle on their own account from a feeling of resentment, before the commander-in-chief can tell whether or no he is in a position to fight, the result is ruin. When the general is weak and without authority, when his orders are not clear and distinct, when there are no fixed duties assigned to officers and men, and the ranks are formed in a slovenly, haphazard manner, the result is utter disorganization. When a general, unable to estimate the enemy's strength, allows an inferior force to engage a larger one, or hurls a weak detachment against a powerful one, and neglects to place picked soldiers in the front rank, the result must be rout. These are 6 ways of courting defeat, which must be carefully noted by the general who has attained a responsible post. The natural formation of the country is the soldier's best ally, but a power of estimating the adversary, of controlling the forces of victory, and of shrewdly calculating difficulties, dangers and distances, constitutes the test of a great general. He who knows these things and in fighting puts his knowledge into practice will win his battles. He who knows them not, nor practices them, will surely be defeated. If fighting is sure to result in victory, then you must fight, although the rule is forbidden. If fighting will not result in victory, then you must not fight, even at the ruler's bidding. The general who advances without coveting fame, and retreats without fearing disgrace, whose only thought is to protect his country and do good service for his sovereign, is the jewel of the kingdom. Regard your soldiers as your children, and they will follow you into the deepest valleys. Look upon them as your beloved sons, and they will stand by you even unto death. If, however, you are indulgent, but unable to make your authority felt, kind-hearted, but unable to enforce your commands, and incapable, moreover, of quelling disorder, then your soldiers must be likened to spoilt children. They are useless for any practical purpose. If we know that our own men are in a condition to attack, but are unaware that the enemy is not open to attack, we have gone only halfway towards victory. If we know that the enemy is open to attack, but are unaware that our own men are not in a condition to attack, we have gone only halfway towards victory. If we know that the enemy is open to attack, and also know that our men are in a condition to attack, but are unaware that the nature of the ground makes fighting impracticable, we have still only gone halfway towards victory. Hence the experienced soldier, once in motion, is never bewildered. Once he has broken camp, he is never at a loss. Hence the saying, if you know the enemy and know yourself, your victory will not stand in doubt. If you know heaven and know earth, you may make your victory complete. 11. The 9 situations. Sun Tzu said, "The art of war recognizes 9 variations of ground. 1. Dispersive ground. 2. Facile ground. 3. Contentious ground. 4. Open ground. 5. Ground of intersecting highways. 6. Serious ground. 7. Difficult ground. 8. Hemmed-in ground. And 9. Desperate ground." When a chieftain is in his own territory, it is dispersive ground. When he has penetrated into hostile territory, but to no great distance, it is facile ground. Ground the possession of which imports great advantage to either side is contentious ground. Ground on which each side has liberty of movement is open ground. Ground which forms the key to 3 contiguous states, so that he who occupies it first has most of the empire at his command, is a ground of intersecting highways. When an army has penetrated into the heart of a hostile country, leaving a number of fortified cities in its rear, it is serious ground. Mountain forests, rugged steeps, marshes and fens, all country that is hard to traverse, this is difficult ground. Ground which is reached through narrow gorges, and from which we can only retire by tortuous paths so that a small number of the enemy would suffice to crush a large body of our men, this is hemmed-in ground. Ground on which we can only be saved from destruction by fighting without delay is desperate ground. On dispersive ground, therefore, fight not. On facile ground, halt not. On contentious ground, attack not. On open ground, do not try to block the enemy's way. On the ground of intersecting highways, join hands with your allies. On serious ground, gather in plunder. In difficult ground, keep steadily on the march. On hemmed-in ground, resort to stratagem. And on desperate ground, fight. Those who were called skillful leaders of old knew how to drive a wedge between the enemy's front and rear, to prevent cooperation between his large and small divisions, to hinder the good troops from rescuing the bad, the officers from rallying their men. When the enemy's men were united, they managed to keep them in disorder. When it was to their advantage, they made a forward move. When otherwise, they stopped still. If asked how to cope with a great host of the enemy in an orderly array and on the point of marching to the attack, I should say, begin by seizing something which your opponent holds dear. Then he will be amenable to your will. Rapidity is the essence of war. Take advantage of the enemy's unreadiness. Make your way by unexpected routes and attack unguarded spots. The following are principles to be observed by an invading force. The further you penetrate into a country, the greater will be the solidarity of your troops, and thus the defenders will not prevail against you. Make forays into fertile country in order to supply them with food. Carefully study the well-being of your men, and do not overtax them. Concentrate your energy and hoard your strength. Keep your army continually on the move, and devise unfathomable plans. Throw your soldiers into positions whence there is no escape, and they will prefer death to flight. If they will face death, there is nothing they will not achieve. Officers and men alike will put forth their uttermost strength. Soldiers, when in desperate straits, lose the sense of fear. There is no place of refuge, they will stand firm. If they are in hostile country, they will show a stubborn front. There is no help for it, they will fight hard. Thus, without waiting to be marshalled, the soldiers will constantly be on the qui-vive. Without waiting to be asked, they will do your will. Without restrictions, they will be faithful. Without giving orders, they can be trusted. Prohibit the taking of oath, and do away with superstitious doubts. Then, until death itself comes, no calamity need be feared. If our soldiers are not overburdened with money, it is not because they have a distaste for riches. If their lives are not unduly long, it is not because they are disinclined to longevity. On the day they are ordered out to battle, your soldiers may weep. those sitting up bedewing their garments, and those lying down letting the tears run down. But let them once be brought to bay, they will display the courage of a chew or a quail. The skillful tactician may be likened to the shui gen. Now the shui gen is a snake that is found in the Chung mountains. Strike at its head and you will be attacked by its tail. Strike at its tail and you will be attacked by its head. Strike at its middle and you will be attacked by head and tail both. Asked if an army can be made to imitate the shui gen, I should answer yes. For the men of Wu and the men of Yue are enemies. But if they are crossing a river in the same boat and are caught by a storm, they will come to each other's assistance, just as the left hand helps the right. Hence, it is enough to put one's trust in the tethering of horses and the burying of chariot wheels in the ground. The principle on which to manage an army is to set up one standard of courage which all must reach. How to make the best of both strong and weak, that is a question involving the proper use of ground. Thus the skillful general conducts his army just as though he were leading a single man willy-nilly by the hand. It is the business of a general to be quiet and thus ensure secrecy, upright and just, and thus maintain order. He must be able to mystify his officers and men by false reports and appearances, and thus keep them in total ignorance. By altering his arrangements and changing his plans, he keeps the enemy without definite knowledge. By shifting his camp and taking circuitous routes, he prevents the enemy from anticipating his purpose. He burns his boats and breaks his cooking pots. Like a shepherd driving a flock of sheep, he drives his men this way and that, and nothing knows whither he is going. To muster his host and bring it into danger, this may be termed the business of a general. The different measures suited to the 9 varieties of ground, the expediency of aggressive or defensive tactics, and the fundamental laws of human nature, these are things that must most certainly be studied. When invading hostile territory, the general principle is that penetrating deeply brings cohesion. Penetrating but a short way means dispersion. When you leave your own country behind and take your army across neighbourhood territory, you find yourself on critical ground. When there are means of communication on all 4 sides, the ground is one of intersecting highways. When you penetrate deeply into a country, it is serious ground. When you penetrate but a little way, it is facile ground. When you have the enemy's strongholds on your rear and narrow passes in front, it is hemmed-in ground. When there is no place of refuge at all, it is desperate ground. Therefore, on dispersive ground I would inspire my men with unity of purpose. On facile ground I would see that there is close connection between all parts of my army. On contentious ground I would hurry up my rear. On open ground I would keep a vigilant eye on my defences. On ground of intersecting highways I would consolidate my alliances. On serious ground I would try to ensure a continuous stream of supplies. On difficult ground, I would keep pushing on along the road. On hemmed-in ground, I would block any way of retreat. On desperate ground, I would proclaim to my soldiers the hopelessness of saving their lives. For it is the soldier's disposition to offer an obstinate resistance when surrounded, to fight hard when he cannot help himself, and to obey promptly when he has fallen into danger. We cannot enter into alliance with neighbouring princes until we are acquainted with their designs. We are not fit to lead an army on the march unless we are familiar with the face of the country, its mountains and forests, its pitfalls and precipices, its marshes and swamps. We shall be unable to turn natural advantages to account unless we make use of local guides. To be ignorant of any one of the following 4 or 5 principles does not befit a warlike prince. When a warlike prince attacks a powerful state, his generalship shows itself in preventing the concentration of the enemy's forces. He overawes his opponents, and their allies are prevented from joining against him. Hence he does not strive to ally himself with all and sundry, nor does he foster the power of other states. He carries out his own secret designs, keeping his antagonists in awe. Thus he is able to capture their cities and overthrow their kingdoms. Bestow rewards without regard to rule, issue orders without regard to previous arrangements, and you will be able to handle a whole army as though you had to do with but a single man. Confront your soldiers with the deed itself, never let them know your design. When the outlook is bright, bring it before their eyes, but tell them nothing when the situation is gloomy. Place your army in deadly peril, and it will survive. Plunge it into desperate straits, and it will come off in safety. For it is precisely when a force has fallen into harm's way that it is capable of striking a blow for victory. Success in warfare is gained by carefully accommodating ourselves to the enemy's purpose. By persistently hanging on the enemy's flank, we shall succeed in the long run in killing the commander-in-chief. This is called ability to accomplish a thing by sheer cunning. On the day that you take up your command, block the frontier passes, destroy the official tallies, and stop the passage of all emissaries. Be stern in the council chamber, so that you may control the situation. If the enemy leaves a door open, you must rush in. Forestall your opponent by seizing what he holds dear, and subtly contrive to time his arrival on the ground. Walk in the path defined by rule, and accommodate yourself to the enemy until you can fight a decisive battle. At first, then, exhibit the coyness of a maiden, until the enemy gives you an opening. Afterwards, emulate the rapidity of a running hare, and it will be too late for the enemy to oppose you. 12. The attack by fire. Sun Tzu said, "There are 5 ways of attacking with fire. The first is to burn soldiers in their camp. The second is to burn stores. The third is to burn baggage trains. The fourth is to burn arsenals and magazines. The fifth is to hurl dropping fire amongst the enemy." In order to carry out an attack, we must have means available. The material for raising fire should always be kept in readiness. There is a proper season for making attacks with fire, and special days for starting a conflagration. The proper season is when the weather is very dry. The special days are those. The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Translated by Lionel Giles and narrated by Robin Homer. 1. Laying plans. Sun Tzu said, "The art of war is of vital importance to the state. It is a matter of life and death, a road either to safety or to ruin. Hence it is a subject of inquiry which can on no account be neglected. The art of war, then, is governed by 5 constant factors to be taken into account in one's deliberation when seeking to determine the conditions obtaining in the field. These are 1. The moral law, 2. Heaven, 3. Earth, 4. The commander, 5. Method and discipline. The moral law causes people to be in complete accord with their ruler, so that they will follow him regardless of their lives, undismayed by his throne. Heaven signifies night and day, cold and heat, times and seasons. Earth comprises distances, great and small, danger and security, open ground and narrow passes, the chances of life and death. The commander stands for the virtues of wisdom, sincerity, benevolence, courage and strictness. By method and discipline are to be understood the marshalling of the army in its proper subdivisions, the graduations of rank among the officers, the maintenance of roads by which supplies may reach the army, and the control of military expenditure. These 5 heads should be familiar to every general. He who knows them will be victorious. He who knows them not will fail. Therefore, your deliberations, when seeking to determine the military conditions, let them be made the basis of a comparison in this wise. 1. Which of the 2 sovereigns is imbued with the moral law? 2. Which of the 2 generals has most ability? 3. With whom lie the advantages derived from heaven and earth? 4. On which side is discipline most rigorously enforced? 5. Which army is stronger? 6. On which side are officers and men more highly trained? And 7. In which army is there the greater constancy both in reward and punishment? By means of these 7 considerations, I can forecast victory or defeat. The general that hearkens to my counsel and acts upon it will conquer. Let such a one be retained in command. The general that hearkens not to my counsel, nor acts upon it, will suffer defeat. Let such a one be dismissed. While heeding the profit of my counsel, avail yourself also of any helpful circumstances over and beyond the ordinary rules. According as circumstances are favourable, one should modify one's plan. All warfare is based on deception. Hence, when able to attack, we must seem unable. When using our forces, we must seem inactive. When we are near, we must make the enemy believe we are far away. When far away, we must make him believe we are near. Hold out baits to entice them. Feign disorder and crush them. Be secure at all points, be prepared for it. If he is in superior strength, evade him. If your opponent is of choleric temper, seek to irritate him. Pretend to be weak that he may grow arrogant. If he is taking his ease, give him no rest. If his forces are united, separate them. Attack him where he is unprepared, appear where you are not expected. These military devices leading to victory must not be divulged beforehand. Now, the general who wins a battle makes many calculations in his temple ere the battle is fought. The general who loses a battle makes but few calculations beforehand. Thus do many calculations lead to victory, and few calculations to defeat. How much more, no calculation at all. It is by attention to this point that I can foresee who is likely to win or lose. 2. Waging war. Sun Tzu said, "In the operations of war, where there are in the field 1,000 swift chariots, as many heavy chariots, and 100,000 mail-clad soldiers, with provisions enough to carry them 1,000 li, the expenditure at home and at the front, including entertainment of guests, small items such as glue and paint, and sums spent on chariots and armour, will reach the total of 1,000 ounces of silver per day. Such is the cost of raising an army of 100,000 men." When you engage in actual fighting, if victory is long in coming, the men's weapons will grow dull and their ardour will be damped. If you lay siege to a town, you will exhaust your strength. Again, if the campaign is protracted, the resources of the state will not be equal to the strain. Now, when your weapons are dulled, your ardour damped, your strength exhausted, and your treasure spent, other chieftains will spring up to take advantage of your extremity. Then no man, however wise, will be able to avert the consequences that must ensue. Thus, though we have heard of stupid haste in war, cleverness has never been associated with long delays. There is no instance of a country having benefited from prolonged warfare. It is only one who is thoroughly acquainted with the evils of war that can thoroughly understand the profitable way of carrying it on. The skilful soldier does not raise a second levy, neither are his supply wagons loaded more than twice. Bring war material with you from home, but forage on the enemy. Thus the army will have food enough for its needs. Poverty of the state exchequer causes an army to be maintained by contributions from a distance. Contributing to maintain an army at a distance causes the people to be impoverished. On the other hand, the proximity of an army causes prices to go up, and high prices cause the people's substance to be drained away. When their substance is drained away, the peasantry will be afflicted by heavy exactions. With this loss of substance and exhaustion of strength, the homes of the people will be stripped bare, and 3/10 of their income will be dissipated. while government expenses for broken chariots, worn-out horses, breastplates and helmets, bows and arrows, spears and shields, protective mantles, draft oxen and heavy wagons will amount to 4/10 of its total revenue. Hence, a wise general makes a point of foraging on the enemy. 1 cartload of the enemy's provisions is equivalent to 20 of one's own, and likewise a single picule of his provender is equivalent to 20 from one's own store. Now, in order to kill the enemy, our men must be roused to anger. That there may be advantage from defeating the enemy, they must have their rewards. Therefore, in chariot fighting, when 10 or more chariots have been taken, those should be rewarded who took the first. Our own flags should be substituted for those of the enemy, and the chariots mingled and used in conjunction with ours. The captured soldiers should be kindly treated and kept. This is called using the conquered foe to augment one's own strength. In war, then, let your great object be victory, not lengthy campaigns. Thus it may be known that the leader of armies is the arbiter of the people's fate, the man on whom it depends whether the nation shall be in peace or in peril. 3. Attack by stratagem. Sun Tzu said, "In the practical art of war, the best thing of all is to take the enemy's country whole and intact. To shatter and destroy it is not so good. So too it is better to recapture an army entire than to destroy it, to capture a regiment, a detachment, or a company entire than to destroy them. Hence, to fight and conquer in all your battles is not supreme excellence. Supreme excellence consists in breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. Thus, the highest form of generalship is to balk the enemy's plans. The next best is to prevent the junction of the enemy's forces. The next in order is to attack the enemy's army in the field, and the worst policy of all is to besiege walled cities. The rule is not to besiege walled cities if it can possibly be avoided. The preparation of mantlets, movable shelters, and various implements of war will take up 3 whole months, and the piling up of mounds over and against the walls will take 3 months more. The general unable to control his irritation will launch his men to the assault like swarming ants, with the result that 1/3 of his men are slain while the town still remains untaken. Such are the disastrous effects of a siege. Therefore, the skillful leader subdues the enemy's troops without any fighting. He captures their cities without laying siege to them. He overthrows their kingdom without lengthy operations in the field. With his forces intact, he will dispute the mastery of the empire, and thus, without losing a man, his triumph will be complete. This is the method of attacking by strategy. It is the rule in war, if our forces are 10 to the enemy's 1, to surround them, 5 to 1, to attack them, if twice as numerous, to divide our army into 2. If equally matched, we can offer battle. If slightly inferior in numbers, we can avoid the enemy. If quite unequal in every way, we can flee from it. Hence, though an obstinate fight can be made by a small force, in the end it must be captured by a larger force. Now the general is the bulwark of the state. If the bulwark is complete at all points, the state will be strong. If the bulwark is defective, the state will be weak. There are 3 ways in which a ruler can bring misfortune upon his army. 1. By commanding the army to advance or to retreat, being ignorant of the fact that it cannot obey. This is called hobbling the army. 2. By attempting to govern an army in the same way as he administers a kingdom, being ignorant of the conditions which obtain in an army. This causes restlessness in the soldiers' minds. 3. By employing the officers in his army without discrimination, through ignorance of the military principle of adaptation to circumstances. This shakes the confidence of the soldiers. But when the army is restless and distrustful, trouble is sure to come from the other principle. This is simply bringing anarchy into the army, flinging victory away. Thus we may know that there are 5 essentials for victory. 1. He will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight. 2. He will win who knows how to handle both superior and inferior forces. 3. He will win whose army is animated by the same spirit throughout all its ranks. 4. He will win who, prepared himself, waits to take the enemy unprepared. And 5. He will win who has military capacity and is not interfered with by the sovereign. Hence the saying, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained you will also suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. 4. Tactical disposition. Sun Tzu said, "The good fighters of old first put themselves beyond the possibility of defeat, and then waited for an opportunity of defeating the enemy." To secure ourselves against defeat lies in our own hands, but the opportunity of defeating the enemy is provided by the enemy himself. Thus the good fighter is able to secure himself against defeat, but cannot make certain of defeating the enemy. Hence the saying, one may know how to conquer without being able to do it. Security against defeat implies defensive tactics. Ability to defeat the enemy means taking the offensive. Standing on the defensive indicates insufficient strength. Attacking, a superabundance of strength. The general who is skilled in defense hides in the most secret recesses of the earth. He who is skilled in attack flashes forth from the topmost heights of heaven. Thus, on the one hand, we have ability to protect ourselves, on the other, a victory that is complete. To see victory only when it is within the ken of the common herd is not the acme of excellence. Neither is it the acme of excellence if you fight and conquer and the whole empire says, "Well done." To lift an autumn hair is no sign of great strength. To see the sun and moon is no sign of sharp sight. To hear the noise of thunder is no sign of a quick mind. What the ancients called a clever fighter is one who not only wins, but excels in winning defeat. Hence his victories bring him neither reputation for wisdom nor credit for courage. He wins his battles by making no mistakes. Making no mistakes is what establishes the certainty of victory, for it means conquering an enemy that is already defeated. Hence the skillful fighter puts himself into a position which makes defeat impossible, and does not miss the moment for defeating the enemy. Thus it is that in war the victorious strategist only seeks battle after the victory has been won, whereas he who is destined to defeat first fights and afterwards looks for victory. The consummate leader cultivates the moral law, and strictly adheres to method and discipline. Thus it is in his power to control success. In respect of military method, we have firstly, measurement, secondly, estimation of quantity, thirdly, calculation, fourthly, balancing of chances, fifthly, victory. Measurement owes its existence to earth, estimation of quantity to measurement, calculation to estimation of quantity, balancing of chances to calculation, and victory to balancing of chances. A victorious army opposed to a routed one is a pound's weight placed in the scale against a single grain. The onrush of a conquering force is like the bursting of pent-up waters into a chasm 1,000 fathoms deep. 5. Energy. Sun Tzu said, "The control of a large force is the same principle as the control of a few men. It is merely a question of dividing up their numbers. Fighting with a large army under your command is nowise different from fighting with a small one. It is merely a question of instituting signs and signals. To ensure that your whole host may withstand the brunt of the enemy's attack and remain unshaken, this is effected by maneuvers, direct and indirect. that the impact of your army may be like a grindstone dashed against an egg, this is effected by the science of weak points and strong. In all fighting, the direct method may be used for joining battle, but indirect methods will be needed in order to secure victory. Indirect tactics, efficiently applied, are as inexhaustible as heaven and earth, unending as the flow of rivers and streams. Like the sun and moon, they end but to begin anew. Like the four seasons, they pass away to return once more. There are not more than 5 musical notes, yet the combinations of these 5 give rise to more melodies than can ever be heard. There are not more than 5 primary colours, blue, yellow, red, white and black, yet in combination they produce more hues than can ever be seen. There are not more than 5 cardinal states, sour, acrid, salt, sweet, bitter, yet combinations of them yield more flavours than can ever be tasted. In battle there are not more than 2 methods of attack, the direct and the indirect, yet these 2 in combination give rise to an endless series of manoeuvres. The direct and the indirect lead on to each other in turn. It is like moving in a circle. You never come to an end. Who can exhaust the possibilities of their combination? The onset of troops is like the rush of a torrent which will even roll stones along in its course. The quality of decision is like the well-timed swoop of a falcon which enables it to strike and destroy its victim. Therefore, the good fighter will be terrible in his onset and prompt in his decision. Energy may be likened to the bending of a crossbow, decision to the releasing of a trigger. Amid the turmoil and tumult of battle, there may be seeming disorder, and yet no real disorder at all. Amid confusion and chaos, your array may be without head or tail, yet it will be proof against defeat. Simulated disorder postulates perfect discipline. Simulated fear postulates courage. Simulated weakness postulates strength. Hiding order beneath the cloak of disorder is simply a question of subdivision. Concealing courage under a show of timidity presupposes a fund of latent energy. Masking strength with weakness is to be effected by tactical dispositions. Thus, one who is skillful at keeping the enemy on the move maintains deceitful appearances, according to which the enemy will act. He sacrifices something, that the enemy may snatch at it. By holding out baits, he keeps him on the march. Then, with a body of picked men, he lies in wait for him. The clever combatant looks to the effect of combined energy, and does not require too much from individuals. Hence his ability to pick out the right men and utilize combined energy. When he utilizes combined energy, his fighting men become, as it were, like unto rolling logs or stones. For it is the nature of a log or stone to remain motionless on level ground, and to move when on a slope, if four-cornered, to come to a standstill, but if rounded, to go rolling down. Thus, the energy developed by good fighting men is as the momentum of a round stone rolled down a mountain thousands of feet in height. So much on the subject of energy. 6. Weak points and strong. Sun Tzu said, "Whoever is first in the field and awaits the coming of the enemy will be fresh for the fight. Whoever is second in the field and has to hasten to battle will arrive exhausted." Therefore, the clever combatant imposes his will on the enemy, but does not allow the enemy's will to be imposed on him. By holding out advantages to him, he can cause the enemy to approach of his own accord, or by inflicting damage, he can make it impossible for the enemy to draw near. If the enemy is taking his ease, he can harass him. If well supplied with food, he can starve him out. If quietly encamped, he can force him to move. Appear at points which the enemy must hasten to defend. March swiftly to places where you are not expected. An army may march great distances without distress if it marches through country where the enemy is not. You can be sure of succeeding in your attacks if you only attack places which are undefended. You can ensure the safety of your defense if you only hold positions that cannot be attacked. Hence, that general is skillful in attack whose opponent does not know what to defend, and he is skillful in defense whose opponent does not know what to attack. O divine art of subtlety and secrecy, through you we learn to be invisible, through you inaudible, and hence we can hold the enemy's fate in our hands. You may advance and be absolutely irresistible if you make for the enemy's weak points. You may retire and be safe from pursuit if your movements are more rapid than those of the enemy. If we wish to fight, the enemy can be forced to an engagement even though he be sheltered behind a high rampart and a deep ditch. All we need to do is attack some other place that he will be obliged to relieve. If we do not wish to fight, we can prevent the enemy from engaging us even though the lines of our encampment be merely traced out on the ground. All we need to do is throw something odd and unaccountable in his way. By discovering the enemy's dispositions and remaining invisible ourselves, we can keep our forces concentrated while the enemy's must be divided. We can form a single united body while the enemy must split up into fractions. Hence there will be a whole pitted against separate parts of a whole, which means that we shall be many to the enemy's few. And if we are able thus to attack an inferior force with a superior one, our opponents will be in dire straits. The spot where we intend to fight must not be made known, for then the enemy will have to prepare against a possible attack at several different points, and his forces being thus distributed in many directions, the numbers we shall have to face at any given point will be proportionately few. For should the enemy strengthen his van, he will weaken his rear. Should he strengthen his rear, he will weaken his van. Should he strengthen his left, he will weaken his right. Should he strengthen his right, he will weaken his left. If he sends reinforcements everywhere, he will everywhere be weak. Numerical weakness comes from having to prepare against possible attacks. Numerical strength from compelling our adversary to make these preparations against us. Knowing the place and the time of the coming battle, we may concentrate from the greatest distances in order to fight. But if neither time nor place be known, then the left wing will be impotent to succour the right, the right equally impotent to succour the left, the van unable to relieve the rear, and the rear to support the van. How much more so if the furthest portions of the army are anything under 100 li apart, and even the nearest are separated by several li. Though, according to my estimate, the soldiers of Yue exceed our own in number, that shall advantage them nothing in the matter of victory. I say then that victory can be achieved. Though the enemy be stronger in numbers, we may prevent him from fighting. Scheme so as to discover his plans and the likelihood of their success. Rouse him and learn the principle of his activity or inactivity. Force him to reveal himself so as to find out his vulnerable spots. Carefully compare the opposing army with your own, so that you may know where strength is superabundant and where it is deficient. In making tactical dispositions, the highest pitch you can attain is to conceal them. Conceal your dispositions, and you will be safe from the prying of the subtlest spies, from the machinations of the wisest brains. All men can see the tactics whereby they conquer, but what none can see is the strategy out of which victory is evolved. Do not repeat the tactics which have gained you one victory. Let your methods be regulated by infinite variety of circumstances. Military tactics are like unto water. Water in its natural course runs away from high places and hastens down. So in war, the way is to avoid what is strong and to strike at what is weak. The water shapes its course according to the nature of the ground over which it flows. The soldier works out his victory in relation to the foe whom he is facing. Therefore, just as water retains no constant shape, so in warfare there are no constant conditions. He who can modify his tactics in relation to his opponent and thereby succeed in winning may be called a heaven-born captain. The 5 elements, water, fire, wood, metal, earth, are not always equally predominant. The four seasons make way for each other in time. There are short days and long. The moon has its periods of waiting. 7. Maneuvering. Sun Tzu said, "In war, the general receives his commands from the sovereign. Having collected an army and concentrated his forces, he must blend and harmonize the different elements thereof before pitching his camp. After that comes tactical maneuvering, than which there is nothing more difficult. The difficulty of tactical maneuvering consists in turning the devious into the direct and misfortune into gain. Thus, to take a long and circuitous route, after enticing the enemy out of the way, and those starting after him to contrive to reach the goal before him, shows knowledge of the artifice of deviation. Maneuvering with an army is advantageous, with an undisciplined multitude most dangerous. If you set a fully equipped army in march in order to snatch an advantage, the chances are that you will be too late. On the other hand, to detach a flying column for the purpose involves the sacrifice of its baggage and stores. Thus, if you order your men to roll up their buff coats and make forced marches without halting day or night, covering double the usual distance at a stretch, doing 100 li in order to wrest an advantage, the leaders of all your 3 divisions will fall into the hands of the enemy. The stronger men will be in front, the jaded ones will fall behind, and on this plan only 1/10 of your army will reach its destination. If you march 50 li in order to outmaneuver the enemy, you will lose the leader of your first division, and only half your force will reach the goal. If you march 30 li with the same object, 2/3 of your army will arrive. We may take it then that an army without its baggage train is lost. Without provisions it is lost, without bases of supply it is lost. We cannot enter into alliances until we are acquainted with the designs of our neighbours. We are not fit to lead an army on the march unless we are familiar with the face of the country, its mountains and forests, its pitfalls and precipices, its marshes and swamps. We shall be unable to turn natural advantage to account unless we make use of local guides. In war, practice dissimulation, and you will succeed. Whether to concentrate or divide your troops must be decided by circumstances. Let your rapidity be that of the wind, your compactness that of the forest. In raiding and plundering, be like fire, in immovability like a mountain. Let your plans be dark and impenetrable as night, and when you move, fall like a thunderbolt. When you plunder a countryside, let the spoil be divided amongst your men. When you capture new territory, cut it up into allotments for the benefit of the soldiery. Ponder and deliberate before you make a move. He will conquer who has learnt the artifice of deviation. Such is the art of maneuvering. The Book of Army Management says, "On the field of battle, the spoken word does not carry far. Hence the institution of gongs and drums. Nor can ordinary objects be seen clearly enough. Hence the institution of banners and flags." Gongs and drums, banners and flags are means whereby the ears and eyes of the host may be focused on one particular point. The host thus forming a single united body, it is impossible either for the brave to advance alone or for the cowardly to retreat alone. This is the art of handling large masses of men. In night fighting, then, make such use of signal fires and drums, and in fighting by day of flags and banners, as a means of influencing the ears and eyes of your army. A whole army may be robbed of its spirit. A commander-in-chief may be robbed of his presence of mind. Now a soldier's spirit is keenest in the morning. By noonday it has begun to flag, and in the evening his mind is bent only on returning to camp. A clever general, therefore, avoids an army when its spirit is keen, but attacks it when it is sluggish and inclined to return. This is the art of studying moods. Disciplined and calm, to await the appearance of disorder and hubbub amongst the enemy. This is the art of retaining self-possession. To be near the goal while the enemy is still far from it, to wait at ease while the enemy is toiling and struggling, to be well fed.
Following days of torrential rain. The situation in many areas is critical as more rivers burst their banks. At least 15 people have died across Poland, Austria, Romania and the Czech Republic, also known as Czechia, with southern Germany affected as well. The flooding is the worst some regions have seen for more than 20 years. Tens of thousands have been forced to flee the rising waters.
Across Central Europe, Storm Boris has filled the streets of picturesque towns with muddy sludge. Raging rivers have destroyed road and rail bridges, leaving towns divided. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk has announced more than €250 million in funds to deal with some of the worst flooding in decades.
The Minister of Finance has assured me that there will be no shortage of money, whether for immediate or long-term aid.
In neighbouring Czechia, several people are dead and others missing after being swept away in their vehicles. Residents in the mountain town of Jesenik describe the impact of surging waters as an apocalypse.
The water was rolling in here. Mud got into our house. It's not so bad there, but this is a disaster. It's terrible, really terrible.
While much damage is already clear, many structures are still teetering on the brink of collapse, leaving residents to wonder if they can return to their homes.
2 meters of water ran through the street. There was a whirlpool that undermined the house, and who knows how it will end or if it'll need to be taken down or not.
Few parts of Czechia have been spared. Hundreds of thousands of homes have been left without power. Evacuation orders have been extended to major cities as defensive dikes fail and rivers break their banks. Many reservoirs have reached their capacity. This dam in Austria is approaching its limits, and the disaster is far from over, with more rain on the way. Sandbags are now the only hope for many on swollen rivers like the Danube. Major cities like Budapest could be next to face the floods.
Let's get more on this from Liz Bentley. She's Chief Executive of the Royal Meteorological Society in London. Welcome to DW, Dr. Bentley. Central and Eastern Europe, are they generally prone to flooding?
So we have seen flooding events in this part of the world before. That's not unusual, but I think on this occasion, it's the extent of the amount of rainfall that has fallen and over such a wide area. So it's covered, a number of countries, as you've shown in that report. Whole river catchment areas have been deluged in heavy rainfall. So I think it's the sheer amount of rain that's fallen and the extent to which the area it covers is it's unprecedented.
Okay, so and what should we be ascribing these extremes to? Do we presume that it's man-made climate change?
Yeah, so we have a very stationary weather pattern called a cut-off low. These aren't unusual to get at this time of year in this part of the world. It means that a weather pattern just gets stuck and therefore rain just falls continuously for days on end. I think there are some signals, though, of climate change here. So we've had a very warm Mediterranean Sea this year, record-breaking temperatures in the Mediterranean Sea. That has fueled energy from the heat, but also more moisture in the atmosphere as that warm Mediterranean Sea has evaporated more moisture into the atmosphere. And we know a warmer climate, that the atmosphere can hold more moisture. So typically we've seen a 10% increase in the amount of moisture that the atmosphere can hold because of human-induced climate change, which means when we get these rainfall events, the rainfall is so much heavier, as we've seen over recent days.
So from what you've said, it sounds like this can be predictable. We look at what's going on in summer, and as you say, the extra energy in the weather systems. So downstream or further along in the year, we can expect these sorts of events. So presumably, we should now be planning for this.
Yeah, so that's right. So there's two things here. We know from our climate projections that these events are now more likely to happen than they ever have been before. We also have very good weather forecasts. So this particular event was forecast days in advance. So we have warnings that can be put out days in advance for local authorities to take action, but also for the public to take themselves away from these areas as best they can to put themselves out of danger. So I think this initiative to have more weather warnings, timely weather warnings, because we can't stop these rainfall events from happening, but we can provide information to the public when they're likely to happen. But also, as you say, planning for these things. We know we're going to get more of these events in future, so we need to have greater defences in place that can cope with them. So, for example, in Poland, the great floods they had in 1997, very devastating. There was a lot of funding went in to put flood defences in place. Those are now being tested by this particular event. And it will be interesting after we see the aftermath of this flooding event, how much those flood defences actually coped with this particular situation.
And as we see these extreme weather events, extreme heat in some places and extreme rain in others, this is going to sound like a bit of a weird question, but I've always wondered, are we looking at less rain overall? I'm just thinking that, does this mean that if we now start to build reservoirs and dam systems, that we can actually use this in some way in the future?
It's a little bit like famine and feast. So with our climate changing, we either have periods where we have too much rainfall, like we've seen over the last few days across Europe, or we have periods where we have too little rainfall, and we've seen the drought conditions across the southern half of Europe. So we have to become much better at managing those famine and feast situations where it's too much rain or too little rainfall.
Right, you put it much better than I could have. Thank you so much. Liz Bentley from the Royal Meteorological Society in London. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's take you to Austria now. Our correspondent, Julia Saudelli, is in Lower Austria, close to the Kamp Valley, which is one of the country's hardest hit regions. Welcome, Julia. What have you seen there today?
Yeah, today has seen incessant rain all across this part of Austria, really without any break. This is the first moment, really, where we've seen an end to the rain. And where I'm standing is on the on the edge of the Danube River. It is very high. As you see, these are some protective barriers that have been put up to prevent the water from overflowing. But the situation here is quite calm right now. But we've heard that and we've seen that in the Kamp Valley, which is further upstream from here, there has been quite a lot of flooding. There is a reservoir there that goes into the Kamp River, and it was at risk of overflowing. So over the last couple of days, authorities have let gradually water come out of the reservoir, not to create a big wave, a big overflow, but that meant that downstream there was more water than usual coming down. So a lot of the towns in that area have seen flooding.
And how are people coping?
Well, people knew that a lot of rain was on its way, and authorities seem to have warned, especially local authorities, seem to have warned people that the situation could get bad. There were sandbags prepared, but that didn't really prevent water from creating damage. We were in a town earlier, about 30 kilometers from where we are now, and we found people cleaning up the cellars of their buildings because in the early hours of Sunday, water just came flowing through the streets of the town, went into a lot of the cellars where pretty much everything was damaged. So they were still cleaning out rubbish, and they were still cleaning out mud and water from there. So people are tired, but they're still ongoing with the cleaning up measures, and they hope it won't get worse now.
Right. So sandbags and reservoir overflows. What else was happening in the way of preparations?
Well, we've seen a lot of deployed firefighters working in the area, especially now to prevent anything worse from happening, because there is concern that with a lot of rain that fell throughout the day today, that the rivers can now become even more full, that the land, which is already full of all the water that has fallen in the last few days, could now not be able to absorb the rain that fell really heavily throughout the day. And there is fear that overnight and into tomorrow, tomorrow, more rivers might be overflowing. So we've seen authorities preparing for that, putting up more sandbags, and in some cases also evacuating some towns. There is a town downriver from where I'm standing, about also 30 kilometers away, where all 200 inhabitants are being evacuated this evening because there is fear that the water in the town might overflow and cause some severe flooding there.
OK, thanks for that, Julia. Julia Saudeli in Krems in Austria.
Victoria Belova is a journalist in Bratislava, Slovakia, and joins us now from the banks of the River Danube. Victoria, thanks for joining us. Can you bring us up to date on what's happening where you are?
Hi, hello from Slovakia, from Bratislava. I'm standing next to Danube River, which has reached already 9 meters water level and is still rising. It's still dangerous, but as you can see behind me, the weather has stabilized. The conditions are better now, which is very revealing information for all of the forces here. The most affected part of the city is Devinská Nová Ves, which is a bit outside of the city. Devin is completely cut off, and only emergency forces are allowed to get there. Also, people are recommended to maybe leave the houses, go where it's safe, and it's because the two rivers are basically pumping to each other, and it's Danube and Morava. That's why the situation there stays very complicated. Also, in the city center, it's been very complicated because of the fallen trees and bad flood. Now the city should be stabilized, and as you can see behind me, people are already getting out and try to live their life again.
And Victoria, what about the other countries that are being affected by this?
So probably the most affected country is Poland, as it was said in the reportage before this interview. There were a couple of dead bodies found. There are many missing people in the Czech Republic. Also a very complicated situation in Budapest as well. We are expecting to get maybe more water from Vienna, as Danube is pumping there a lot. It stays very complicated, but the conditions have stabilized all over the region. So we are expecting a bit better conditions, a bit better weather. But still it stays very complicated. Maybe very interesting information is that Ukraine, which is in the middle of the war, has already offered some help to both Poland and Slovakia.
Journalist Victoria Belova reporting there from Slovakia. Thank you so much, Victoria.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
We're joined now by Ovidiusz Niczeja, a journalist at the Polish public broadcaster TVP in Głuchołazy in Poland. That's close to the Czech border. Thank you so much for joining us today. We can see some flooding behind you. Can you tell us how the situation is developing where you are?
Right, so this place, Głuchołazy in southern Poland, is one of the places that was affected the hardest in the wake of the flooding. This place yesterday was completely flooded. There was the water level here was about 2 meters high. So walking here, I would be completely covered with water. You can see the amount of destruction that the flooding has left here. People are now taking away the stuff from their homes. Basically, these homes were devastated by the flooding waters. Everything is just destroyed, and you can see that even now through the city. And it's just absolute post-apocalyptic view. Luckily, no one was killed in this city. We spoke with the police. They are trying to make sure that everyone is okay. But now people are returning to their houses, and these are really heartbreaking sights. Just seeing these people who have had all of their possessions devastated, seeing their sad faces. They have been battling with the elements for the past week. Trying to protect their houses, setting up sandbags and so on. But ultimately, yesterday they had to give up, and they had to surrender to the sheer power of the water as it swept through the city and took everything with it, just left here a thick layer of ankle-deep mud.
Can you tell us how the evacuation and rescue missions are going, given the circumstances? I mean, from what you're describing and from what we can see, it's a really serious situation.
Right, so it's very difficult to say precisely affected by the evacuations because the situation is changing very, very rapidly. And then we spoke to the police and they told us that you have to really follow all of the statements because the situation can change from in just a second. You know, we are in the mountains and it's still raining. You can probably see that I'm standing in the rain. So the situation can change here very, very quickly. This area, from what we are hearing, is that probably the worst is already behind us. In the coming days, it should be better. But in the northern more parts of the region where the water is flowing to, there the people are worrying because we do not know how serious the threat will be, and so many cities north from here are bracing for the impact. Now the military is here working on the ground. Thousands of soldiers have been deployed from all over Poland. We see from time to time combat helicopters equipped with rescue stuff to help the rescue operations. We also see humanitarian aid being distributed to the people because there is no power, there is no running water, there is no gas. And it's difficult to get anything to eat here. So definitely very, very serious situation down here.
Ovidiusz Niczeja reporting for us from Głuchołazy in Poland. Thank you so much for bringing us up to date, for letting us know what's going on there. Journalist Stefan Bachenheimer joins us now from southern Germany. Stefan, what kinds of risks are people facing in connection with the flooding that's happening there where you are?
Well, right here at the German-Austrian border, it has started raining again against all predictions, but nevertheless, there's supposedly no floods expected anymore. Maybe some in the southeastern part of Bavaria, the Berchtesgaden area, but otherwise rainfall is expected not to create too much drama. The real risk here is in the mountains because we had so much snowfall over the last couple of days that there is a severe risk of avalanches. We had an incident in the Karwendel Mountains in southeastern Bavaria where hikers were actually hit by an avalanche. A 72-year-old man is still missing. So that is the real risk. People hiking in the mountains. Mountain lodges had to be evacuated by helicopter. But with regard to rain, we are supposedly fine here.
OK, and Austria is bracing for a second wave with heavier rain expected in the coming hours. What could that mean there?
I think it will mean a lot of extra work in the next couple of days for the firefighters and the Austrian army. There are a couple of communities which are completely enclosed by water, where helicopters are flying in. There are still issues in Vienna, although the situation has eased, but subway lines being closed, highways being closed. So this is expected for a couple of days. Also, we see the Otterstein lake there where floodgates have been opened. That water goes down the Camp River into the Danube and then will finally end up in Eastern Europe and again create more drama over there.
Right. I mean, it's also the worst flooding to hit Poland in decades, isn't it? That's where the Prime Minister Donald Tusk has announced 230 million euros in emergency aid for the region's hit. We're going to have a quick listen to what he said earlier.
I've spoken to the finance minister and we've ensured a reserve of 1 billion zloty for areas and people affected by the flood. The finance minister has assured me that there will be no shortage of money, and that's for immediate and long-term aid.
So back to you, Stefan Bachenheimer. Now, that, of course, was the Polish Prime Minister talking about the situation in his country. Further south, the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Romania have been hit really hard as well. Tell us a little bit about the situation there, if you could, and if there's any let-up in sight.
Yeah, there's still a lot of trouble. For example, in Slovakia, we have the old town of Bratislava, which is partly underwater. There are power outages, large scale, in the Czech Republic. We do have in Romania thousands of farmhouses underwater. So 10,000s, 100,000s of people are affected, and there's still a lot of emergencies, and we can't expect this to go on for the next couple of days.
Journalist Stefan Buchenheimer reporting for us from southern Germany. Thank you so much for bringing us up to date.
This is democracy.
Welcome back. Coastal storm, there's good news in it. And coming up at the top of the hour, we're going to dig into what exactly played out here with some of the dynamics of this storm over the last several hours. But the key message, all tropical storm warnings have been discontinued. So that's great news, yes, for the Carolina coastline, although if you're under that particular band, you probably still feel like there's a tropical storm ongoing. This is the one that has soaked this entire area where we've got the flash flood warnings up, particularly Brunswick and New Hanover, which includes the beaches there in Wilmington. It's got the considerable tag, and the flash flood warning runs for another 4 hours, all the way until 8:45 later on this evening. And the reason for the considerable tag, it's all the things that you've seen right here on Fox Weather over the last several hours, with in some spots where you see in these bullseyes, as estimated by Doppler radar, which we know measured in Carolina Beach, which is right there, and that corresponds correctly. It's been over 18 inches of rain measured. The Doppler radar saying even just a touch inland, that's 18 to 24 inches of rain, almost 2 feet, and that's going back just since midnight. Here's a look over Carolina Beach, place we were just talking about, the town that has been hit with heavy rain and gusty winds that haven't let up, in excess of 18 inches of rain right there. Fox Weather storm specialist Mike Seidel was on the ground as some of the worst of it came through earlier, and his camera even captured a water rescue. Take a look.
Guess what? We've got another rain shower here. Look on the radar. There's a feeder band coming right in over Carolina Beach, Curry Beach, and it's raining very hard once again. It'll be interesting to see if some of these gauges, one of the gauges over 18 inches gets up to 20 inches. Not that we need any more rain here. The problem here is Carolina Beach Lake overflowed and sent water into the streets, and now that's trying to drain into the harbor down by the marina. But look.
I own a lot of businesses, so my tech and my network need to keep up. Thank you, Verizon Business.
Now our businesses get fast and reliable internet from the same network that powers our phones.
So whatever's next, we're cooking with fire.
Switch to the partner businesses rely on.
Severe flooding is
Well, now at 5:30, a desperate call for rain as extreme drought conditions.
Could you enter?
Excuse me. Sheesh. Where's my pitch pipe? No sound, nigga. Come on. What a report.
Arriba también se volteó un ponguero porque para la vecino.
Yeah. Can't even narrate the shit, huh? Something else I was going to search. I gotta clean up this room.
Nós não sabemos até quando a estiagem vai. Só sei dizer que a situação está crítica para o nosso lado. A água já começou a ficar
Yeah,
verde.
you're probably not gonna make it.
Daqui mais um dia não presta nem para o consumo. E nós não temos de onde buscar. Nós não vimos buscar na cidade, nós vamos beber ela mesmo.
Realistically. Beautiful, isn't it? You just gotta find a way to make it about you, right?
What's something people don't know about?
Bursting.
Yep. What a heartwarming story. Oh, you forget the part where all the rain's poison. I didn't forget. Yep. What a great story.
That's right. Don't you know?
Anyway. Oh yeah, reparations. I was supposed to search that. Or or you know, I'm live streaming right now and just nothing. You're like, no reparations. I guess you don't believe in justice, huh? Basically, right? You shouldn't even be here. You don't believe in reparations. You don't believe in justice. You have no sense of what justice is. Nobody was like, hey, you know. I'm kind of tired. Not a single person with a brain was ever like, yeah, we want you as an individual to compensate. You're not the government. Now, some retards might have said some shit like that, where they want some money out of your pocket. I don't want that shit. Yeah, he's like, hey, cuz, nobody deserves justice, right? Basically. Y'all don't want justice. You don't believe in justice. Where'd your shitty butt family come to this country for? You're basically like, you know, there should be anarchy and just a murder everywhere because you don't believe in any type of justice at all. Like, none. You don't believe in order or law or nothing. You have no concept of it. They'll be like, yeah, they're European ancestors from Europe. Like, well, nigga, this ain't Europe, is it? Huh? They don't believe in justice, cuz. You saw that shit where Bernie Sanders was like, no reparations, right? They don't believe in justice, cuz. It's simple. Bill Maher doesn't believe in justice. Al Sharpton don't believe in justice either. None of them. They don't believe in justice, cuz. They're like, hey, there won't nothing wrong with anything that happened. So, like, why don't we just put them in chains and make them slaves, right? Huh? Since you're like, slavery was everywhere. Like, well, I guess it's your turn in this country, right? Like, for real. Where you just don't get out of it. Ever. You just stay a slave forever. For like 1,000 generations, right? 10,000 generations. You see how they try and make it about like white people? Like, hey, cuz, why you trying to deflect to somebody else? Yeah, them little girls from Tulsa, Oklahoma are still alive, aren't they? Huh. And you question why you're going through droughts and floods and shit. Why there won't be anywhere for you to hide. And then you're going like try and invoke somebody's name like Jesus is going to bail you out of this shit or something. But you're a piece of shit to the end. So strange. Real weird, cuz. My question is like, you know, where's my stuff? I upload something just about every day. Nothing. You keep trying to make this about white people. Who gives a fuck? You know somebody's a raccoon when they keep trying to make the shit about white people, cuz. This ain't got shit to do with white people, cuz. Reparations ain't got shit to do with white people, cuz. It's about the government. Period. And you know, since it ain't got shit to do with white people, like, who gives a fuck what you think about this shit? Honestly, nobody cares. You keep saying no to reparations, but like, nobody cares what you think. Nobody cares what you have to say. That's the point. Yeah, Dr. Phil, a legend. Dr. Phil and Steve Harvey, they going to the graveyard together. They'll be like, there's such and such from Europe, you know, a long time ago. Like, that flood in Europe ain't no long time ago, is it? Seems real recent, huh? Yeah, you know how it goes. You'll get some raccoon and they'll get your ass killed, cuz. Just like the Civil War. If you ain't been paying attention. We seen how that shit go, huh? Raccoons will get you killed. When you learn about the Civil War, you need to go see their bones again, boy. We need to show you them bones again. That's what raccoon will get you. What you call them? Raccoon swell well or something. That's what you gonna look like, boy. Who could forget? Oh, it's heritage. It's not hate, boy. Remember. It's all heritage, lad. No hate round here, boy. That's just heritage. Which side you want me to put it on?
Now let's go over to the other side of the country,
right
to
there.
California, where a reparations...
What a trip down memory lane. I wonder what they were fighting about, huh? What's this picture in the center about, boy? What was going on for him to be starving like that? Now go ahead and put that silver fork all up in your mouth, boy. Put that silver spoon in your mouth. Lick it clean. Cause we got photographic evidence of what happened. Now where's your raccoon, boy? Get your raccoon back out here. Where your raccoon at, boy? You about as smart as a fly swarming around a cow pie. Meaning you got shit for brains, boy. All them cow pies you been eating must have went straight to your neurological system, boy. You ain't got shit firing up there but cow pies and who the fuck knows raccoon pellets, right?
Slavery has been a universal.
Look at where all that cooning get you, boy. Play your bones like a xylophone. Are you? I need that steel drum. Don't. Yup, why they crank that RoboCop? Jocking on them haters, man. I crank that thing now. You catch me at your local party. Yes, I crank it every day. Haters get mad cause I play the xylophone with your bones. Oh, I'm Irish, cuz I don't give a fuck. Cause the first thing they'll say is the Irish were slaves, so you can double shut the fuck up, huh? Damn, imagine that. You could shut the fuck up squared. To the power of finna river dance on your bones, boy. Look at where them raccoons get you, boy. Oh. Oh, you ain't learned this one in school? That's crazy, huh? Center stage, boy. Nah, all I need is black and white. I took all of the color out. That color shit is only on stream, nigga. Hold on.
Well, that's fine. All I need is black and white, exactly how I view the world. You damn gay folks that stole all our straight colors. Well, that's fine. All I need is black and white, exactly how I view the world.
Rates of slave ownership in the country in the 1700s.
What's wrong, boy? Nah, how about a little constant reminder? There's this one shit, I can't remember who the fuck it was somebody on MSNBC, where they were like, they keep this picture of slaves in their office. Like, you know, maybe I'll keep this picture here to remind me that, you know, they had a spine, but apparently you don't. I can see their spine, but you don't have one, do you? Yeah, you letting immigrants come to your country and speak for you? That's crazy. Strange. Quite strange. Like, hey, you know, where are my videos? Where is mine, G? No space for the nigga that made the planet. Crazy. Gave you a place to live and nothing. Ain't had nothing to offer me. Yeah, nigga, say it with your chest, right? Nah, say that shit with your chest, weak ass, spineless ass nigga. Say that shit with your fucking chest. Yeah, go ask Superman what he did to Lil Billy, huh? Go ask him. Really, nigga? What's wrong? You wanna cry about it? Oh, come on. What happened to Billy, Superman? What happened? Like, damn, we killing orphans and shit? Okay. Orphans? 10-year-old orphans? Like, hey, that ain't Doctor Strange. Because, you know, somebody don't believe in justice around here. Oh, from down under in Prison Planet. down there in Prison Planet. Everybody knows about Australia because that's where all the criminals go. You know, we don't respect your press pass, boy. You seen what they do to the media around here. What happened to Billy? Same shit, huh? Right? What happened to Billy Wonder Woman? I see. In that one, they killed like 7 orphans or something. I think it's like 6 of them. They ain't just kill one of them. You had to kill all of them. That's very much what happened. They took out all of them. Little orphan Billy. Little orphan Billy, no! How many Shazam orphans? How many? 2, 4, 6. I thought it was 6 of them. What did I say? 7? Yeah, Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman kills 6 orphans. 6 paths. Do 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 do. You're supposed to be a warrior, right? Yeah, how many orphans did Batman kill? How many orphans did Batman kill? Naruto kills 6 people. They'll be like, Naruto ain't never killed nobody. Like, all the pain bodies alive, cause all of them, they're all alive. He killed some of them twice. I think.
This may be weird, but Naruto has only ever...
And all those Zetsus and shit. Six people. Like within like a very short time span. And then Nagato's like, yeah, he's just gonna bring all the people back that died in the Leaf Village. But you know, like, Naruto couldn't do that for nobody. He killed 6 Rinnegan users, mind you. Killed 6 motherfuckers with the Rinnegan. And then he's like, yeah, he's gonna stab himself to get the fucking Renegon. They like to pretend like he ain't killed 6 niggas at the same time, basically. Like, you know, the only reason Naruto was even left alive is because they needed the fucking Nine Tails. Like, they couldn't have just bopped his ass whenever the fuck they felt like it. Yeah, you know, they could just absorb that. And that you see would be in Nagato, where he's like, he can just take the chakra. That shit really didn't matter. B, alright, like pay attention, right? Sasuke versus B. So B hits Sasuke with this lariat and like destroys this nigga's chest. But when he does this shit to Nagato, it's like, oh well, who cares? Shh. B versus Nagato. Hits Nagato with the exact same shit. Completely ineffective. Gets his fucking shit stolen, cuz. This is Nagato versus B. And B's got the shark skin from Kisame that can steal your fucking chakra. And he still ain't enough. Nigga, this is B with the shark skin, cuz. That can eat chakra. And B's just fucked. Ain't shit he can do, cuz. Nothing. You're like, what about Itachi? Well, you know, I mean, he was part of the Akatsuki. That's what it is. You was just going easy on him. Let's be real, bud. You can look at him, cuz. I mean, right? Like Nagato. He's not even really an Edo Tensei, cuz, basically. He don't have the cracks on his face or nothing. You question what Itachi honestly. He's like, where'd he go? Look at this shit, look at this shit, look at this shit. Even stronger than the one he hit Sasuke with. He's like, oh yeah, nigga. Thanks. Just casually about to take Naruto's soul out. Usually they're like in a reanimation Edo Tensei, they got cracks on their face like Madara. But something about the two of them where you're like, nah. Edo Madara. Madara reanimation. Madara reanimation. See, he has the lines on his face. Well, not there. Right, but like Nagato, he don't got them. Itachi, they don't have them. See, ain't that weird? Quality. pay attention to stuff like that. Why does Madara have them, but like Itachi and Nagato don't? See, even Hashirama, he's got the lines. Even Hashirama. Yep. Some of them got it, some of them don't. He's that guy. Anyway. Whoa. Y'all don't believe in justice, cuz. I don't know, like not supporting reparations is like cheering for 9/11, right? Basically, same shit. You're basically a terrorist, cuz you support 9/11. It's the same fucking thing, right? Like, oh, no justice for nobody, huh? They'll be like, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, go tell them Italians, right? When Italy was going to send its navy to attack the United States because they hanged some Italians without a trial. You hate America. Like, hey, cuz, you hate America so much, you know, go back to Europe, nigga. You hate America, go back to Africa, nigga. You hate America, go back to Asia. Go back where you came from. Go on back. And you gotta stop this bullshit where you're like the Caribbean don't count as part of America when it clearly is. Is Jamaica the United States? No. Is it America? Yeah. I get so tired of hearing that shit where they're like, you know, people from the Caribbean, like Jamaica and Haiti and stuff, they're not Americans. Says who? Your dumb ass don't, like, you didn't write the map, cut. It'll usually be older people who say that stupid ass shit too. Like, I guess they ain't teach y'all dumb motherfuckers geography or something. Which is why we're in this situation. Nah, I'm not gonna call you racist, cuz I'm gonna use the proper R word. You're retarded. It shouldn't be a question of are you racist? Are you retarded? Right. You see, they want to use like some AI thumbnail. Like, hey, cuz, put your black ass up there. What's the problem? Why you want to use some AI fucking thumbnail when your black ass could be the fucking thumbnail? What's the problem with that shit? Oh. I put myself in the thumbnail all the times. Looks like a big ass flash of fucking light. O-M-E-T. Hey, that's me in the thumbnail. That's me in the thumbnail. That's me in the thumbnail. There I am in the thumbnail, and I'm in the thumbnail again. And I'm in the thumbnail, and I'm in the thumbnail. And I'm in the thumbnail. That's me in the thumbnail. Ain't no AI generate that shit, nigga. Like, what are you talking about
New
to
tonight,
study
New York City
reparations, cuz? U.S. history book, Louisiana Purchase. There's plenty studies already done about this shit. Jamestown, 1916. Jamestown, 1619. Oh, you finally got a spine. Look at that. Hey, here's your reparation study right here, huh? It's on the books, nigga. U.S. history book, Civil War. Hey, here's your reparation study. Civil War reenactment. Here's your study on reparations right here. U.S. history textbook, segregated military. Here's your reparation study, huh? Can't forget them water cannons and German shepherds, can we? U.S. history book, poll tax. U.S. history book literacy test. Voting literacy test, segregation. Like it's not people still alive or something. Talking about, you know, I gotta pay some shit to vote. Nigga, fuck you. If you don't support reparations, you support 9/11. Pretty simple. You remember 9/11? I bet you were cheering that day, huh? Of course you do. You don't believe in justice, right? You were just ready to go aboard and join the Taliban, won't you? Which one happened first? Did slavery happen first, or did 9/11 happen first? And there ain't no fucking question, because you keep saying it was over 100 years ago, right? Hey, cuz, why don't you go down to like the yellow bus, right? Go over to the yellow bus and get all the special needs kids and then put them in a room with Elon Musk, and I guarantee you they say the same shit. Elon Musk is retarded. Short bus shorty. World of Jenks autism. World of Jenks MTV autism. Hey, why you think I watched this shit? It's that Elon Musk. Nah, he looks a lot more intelligent. Don't he? He looks way more intelligent. Yeah, cuz, whose head we chopping off first? You tell me. Cuz I got quite the list. I've watched every episode, if I'm not mistaken. He's like, yeah, it's real hard to deal with people with autism because
World of T-shirts is one of.
They're still people. They're just retarded. And you seem to think it's okay because somebody got a little bit of money. Strange. He's like, hey, cuz, just like hop in the fucking shower with the toaster, cuz. He's like, next we're gonna go fishing with this dynamite. We're gonna go dynamite fishing. Make sure you throw it real close to the bridge. He's like, nah, just throw this dynamite near the bridge and it'll scare all the fish away. They'll jump in the boat. That's you, cuz. He's like, now you're the horsey. World's gone full retard around here. Yep. Chad and Shaggy, cuz. Hey, cuz, we know you're retarded. It's no secret. Yeah, I'm not retarded. Niggas can't afford to be retarded. That's a luxury. In case you haven't been paying attention. World's richest retard. Where they at, cut? Come on. Where they at? There you go. Well, you know, that's what the doctor said, huh? Not too long ago, where you be in a fucking mental asylum where they would have lobotomized Jazz because you're a danger to the whole world. You never seen Shutter Island, nigga? Elon Musk on Shutter Island. That's where niggas like Elon Musk go. They go to Shutter Island, cuh. That's why I watched the movie. That's exactly where they go. Yeah, they're gonna send you to some farm in New York, right? You ain't see Shutter Island, cuz? Man. Oh. I went to see it with my friends. Some people, they couldn't tell what was going on. Saying, hey, cuz, these niggas, they just high. They're high as fuck. But it's the island for people with mental... whatever, you could fill in the blank on that one. Talked about this shit with my English teacher. Like, yeah, it was a great movie, cuz. It was amazing. It's kind of like the Star Killer thing. Where he's like, is he a clone or not? Is Juno a robot? Is Juno just some shit that Darth Vader made? Like, probably. Is Darth Vader a fucking robot and he's just not there the whole time? Great movie. It's so long ago. Their little mind control operation. They're like, yeah, next we're going to show you these images really fucking quickly and control your fucking neurons and shit. We're going to give you this pudding and it's going to taste like tapioca. Now when you watch Shutter Island, it's exactly what it looks like. It is what it is. What's another one? You know, I'm not even sure why we went to go see this shit. We were like, we're gonna see this shit. Battle. What the fuck?
Storm.
I ain't how that work. Cause we could sue the fuck out of that company.
Yet to come.
That's probably what it is. What's it called? fucking forgot. I can't remember. Some shit. Dang, man. Why can't I remember? Priorities is something more important. Yeah, gee, the bones ain't going nowhere, cuz. Heritage, not hate, right? Heritage, not hate. Yeah, what was it about? Here's your reparation study right there, huh? You see where that got you?
And buddy, let me tell you something.
Hey, cuz, fine. You can, like, take your side. Cause who would ever stomping your fucking brains in?
That X is a Christian symbol. That X is Andrew up on that cross. Because Andrew knew that the first 3 words of Christ's name in Greek meant it was an honorable thing.
Where you gotta keep stomping and stomping and stomping and stomping.
If you didn't know how to read, write your name, you put an X on the paper because it was a Christian symbol. Don't you come around here and telling me about what Beauregard and his men did. They had the stars and bars because they believed that you Yankee friends hijacked the stars and stripes. And it looked so much alike in a battle when one of them, they third, men were shooting on their own men. And when the Southern men chose this flag, they knew it was a Christian symbol. So don't come around here lying on my flag.
What happened to that Christian symbol? They put his head in a basket. Your head's going in a basket, boy. What's the word of a trader worth around here?
AIPI voices are growing.
China, Uyghurs. Hey, stop Asian hate, right? Oh, wait.
A huge cache of data.
The Uyghurs, with their Turkic language, Islamic traditions and roots in a region with a history of separatism and violence, have long faced cycles of tightening government control. And with mounting criticism over the camps, the authorities have taken journalists on tours, showing the Uyghurs celebrating their culture and, they say, being guided away from extremism.
Stop Asian hate, Uyghurs. See, look at that. Chinese Uyghurs, stop Asian hate. Which one is it gonna be? Do. Nigga, that's Fang Wei. You are not a dragon. This is climbing dragon, double dragon, climbing dragon, dancing dragon, dragon slayer. That's the combo. Climbing dragon, double dragon, climbing dragon, dancing dragon, dragon slayer. Happening at the same time, cuz when they signed their little anti-Asian hate crime bill, and like over in China where they're, you know, ethnically erasing a whole group of people, where Asian Americans ain't really say a motherfucking thing. Yeah, see, you sure about that one?
Over the weekend, people around the country held protests and vigils calling for an end to violence against Asian Americans.
What about
We're
them?
getting an extremely rare look inside China's controversial internment camps. More than 1 million Uyghurs and others belonging to various Muslim minority groups are believed to be detained
More
in
than
the
a
Xinjiang
million.
region.
China calls them thought transformation camps built to prevent extremism from spreading, but reports indicate they're more like prisons. BBC News correspondent John Sudworth got exclusive access to one camp.
Over the weekend, people around the country held protests and vigils calling for an end to violence against Asian Americans. Molly Jett talked with 2 Asian American women in central Georgia who are asking for help and understanding following those deadly shootings at Atlanta area spas.
Womp womp. Womp womp. During the Olympics, cuz
I want my husband back.
This is my father. He's also my hero.
I don't know if he's alive or not now.
My father has been detained.
Uyghurs in the U.S. are searching for missing family members they say are detained in Chinese internment camps.
They are innocent. They didn't do anything wrong. Just because of Uyghur ethnics, people need to speak up. Let the world know what's happening.
Former prisoners are testifying on what the international community is calling a genocide against Uyghurs in Xinjiang.
Stop Asian hate though, huh? Okay. When are you gonna do that, cuz? When are you gonna get to that? Which one is it gonna be? Alright, it's like you could equate it to like World War II with I think BMW, right? BMW where they're making all these like Nazi whatever the fucks, and it's like to support that you're supporting the ethnic erasure of the European Jews. Basically same shit. Every time you buy a Volkswagen, you're like, hey, you know, you don't see any problem with the Holocaust. Totally fine with you. Same fucking shit. When your ancestors, wherever the fuck they were from in Europe, came to the United States, they were like, hey, well, nothing wrong with the Trail of Tears or slavery. There's no problem. Well, nothing wrong with no smallpox blankets, according to you, right? Cause like, what else is there to do but be on point down the fucking middle? It'd be like if Mongolia invaded China again and was slaughtering people, and you know, like, hey, Mongolian beef though, right? Nope, I don't see anything wrong with the Mongolians, like, you know, fucking pillaging and destroying your countryside, right? According to you. Can't be a problem, huh? Yeah, those Mongolian cavalrymen, when they like ride through your shit and cut your fucking head off and kill your children and like throw their bodies in the fire. Nothing wrong, I guess. Cause, you know, according to you, right, when you were doing it to somebody else, no problem. When Japan went in China in World War II and, you know, just like fucking smashed your shit in, no problem, I guess. Japanese World War II, China. When they killed all them Chinese people, right? Like, well, according to you, no problem. Yeah, good luck with that, cuz. Good luck with your toys, man. When they launched that fucking Gundam and fucking bop your shit, right? When they launched them motherfucking Gundams, cause you know they been waiting. Japan destroys China with Gundams. Do. Nigga, I watch Gundam Wing. Get my controller to rest. See, they already got one on your shoulders, just ready, cuz. That shit just ready to go off.
Let's get real. You're
What's that joint? You know, pretend to be weak.
Hi, welcome.
Pretending to be weak is a showing of strength. Right here is 20 meters in a firing range. Just so we're clear, right? It's 20 meters in a firing range, dumbass. Put that Gundam in a firing range and stand, you know, where you are, and 20 meters. Don't you love it? Let's go watch some Warzone real quick. Wait, huh? What? What's this? Nah, what's that? Thought it disappeared for a second. Some shit pollinating somewhere, cuz. Just count 20 meters, cuz.
They on the roof.
Any box going down?
Right next to us. What's that?
Anywhere 20 meters. You can put a Gundam right there.
Yeah, I see one.
Over there. It's like 4 Gundams, cuz.
Broke him.
Knocked one up there.
See how far it is.
Nice. We can buy air. We can buy
40. It's 2 Gundams, cuz. It's 2 Gundams distance.
I put an ammo box down on the stairs outside.
Armor box.
2 full-size Gundams.
Or yeah, right there.
Think about that
Knocked
shit.
the guy on the roof. Marco Polo. I found him.
Marco.
Oh, there's the red shielder. Guys, yeah, I definitely get Marco got me.
Yeah, Attack on Titan. You saw what happened to Marco.
I'm in the next building over. Yeah, I'm waiting for mortar here real quick.
Marco got eaten.
Push jet.
Because even if we get the knock
like
here,
he's on the tip right now. He's on the tip.
Just focus on getting your stuff here.
Oh shit. What was it, like the 50-meter Titan? Huh?
We gotta, I think we move up.
Think about that shit, cuz. The firing range, the 50-meter Titan. Huh? 50-meter Titan. Yeah, that's the firing range right there, cuz. 50 meters, Call of Duty. 50 meters, Call of Duty. Call of Duty firing range, 50 meters. Where are you? I don't know. Here we go.
Yo, what is gonna call it? It'll be same for the console itself.
Hey, down there, right? Colossal Titan.
For the particular thing. And what you can
You're at the Colossal Titan's feet right there, cuz.
do is you can basically test out your aim. You can test out how the
50-meter Titan right there.
performs. You can test out the recoil and stuff.
Here, 50 meters, Be bada ba bada be bada be ba. Hey, God, why you trying to like play around? 50-meter Titan firing range. Menos grande. Bleach menos grande. Bleach grande menos. They're like 150 meters tall. Seemingly. So like stack 3 colossal titans shoulder to shoulder on top of each other. Or foot to shoulder, I guess. Yeah, and the Stern Ritters, like, they get their shit wrecked. They were like, they never invade Oikomundo. Because of Baragon. But, you know, once he was gone, they were like, oh, shit. The doctor will see you. It's like, yeah, you could absorb their spirit energy, but, you know, not aging. Or like, even at Reishi, it gets old, cause it'll break down. Spirit energy can get too old and just disappear. You've like scaled them down. Look how they're like they're taller than like an 8-story hospital, cuz. They show you when it first shows up where they walk past the hospital and they're like considerably larger. So, who the fuck knows what size these buildings fucking supposed to be, God. It's ironic. Because when Ichigo goes inside his mind, or what they call it, the inner world, whatever, it's like, it's just fucking skyscrapers in there. And like, yeah. Swinging around skyscrapers. They really struggled against him, man. He used like all their power. Now you might like think that they get nerfed. Like, nope. That don't happen, cuz the Minos Grande never gets nerfed. They're like, yeah, you need to be like captain level to be able to fight that shit. At no point do they ever get nerfed, cuz. Where they can just break the fourth wall, no problem. Come on, G, what are you doing? Really, nigga. Nothing. Huh? You sure, man? Are you sure? 50-meter Titan. 50-meter Titan. $50-meter Titan. 50 meters. I said meter, cause not M. $50 meters in a firing range. Yeah, that like the rod guy. He's like the size of a Minos, and he couldn't even stand up. I'm probably like downplaying it. He might be like 180 meters tall. I think somebody said they were like 182 meters or something. The Minos Grande. But like, hey, cuz the 50-meter Titan. Oh no, they call him Rice, right?
Why is Ryan?
Da 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 da. You know I can shoot that grenade launcher 50 meters, no, bro. Six shots later. Doof, 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 doof. Just think about it, cause you go to the firing range and you're downrange, and it's like, I don't know, 170 feet. $50 down there. Let's just round up, say it's 170. Like RPG. You're like, why would it be so easy to? Because ain't no niggas there, stupid. Duh. Where all the niggas at? Yeah, somebody could shoot the Colossal Titan and kill him with a bow, cuz. What are you talking about? Let's be real about it. A real nigga could. I don't know, you from the Survey Corps, old 5 foot nothing. Yeah, you're gonna have trouble, but that ain't everybody. Alright, you see how Levi like tears him up. I'm like, well, skill issue, huh? Skill issue. You're like, what about their little crystal? Man, you just pour something on it and melt it, cuz. We'll just melt the shit. talking about they couldn't get Annie out the crystal. Like, yeah, throw her in some lava, right? It's just crystal, cuz. You can melt diamonds. Attack on Titan, Annie thrown in lava. Attack on Titan, Annie thrown in lava. That's it for her. Turn it to a crystal, throw her in the lava, cuz. Nah, this lava will do it. If it can melt a diamond, it's gonna melt that shit. Turn the burners up, nigga. Like, yeah, throw her in a volcano. It'll be fine. Problem solved. And, you know, the Titan won't be able to come back either, huh? You're about to get melted in lava. Now they do it with cars. And JoJo, where the only thing that can protect him is like a layer of oxygen. That's it. Melt. You never played Tekken, cuz? Come on, cuz. Where he throws Kazuya in the volcano. Lava. Weren't they traitors and shit? I mean, what? Treason's treason, cuz, right? She did, like, betray the fuck out of y'all, right? I mean, what? They could just throw her in some lava. Lord of the Rings, lava. Lord of the Rings, lava. Like, what's the difference, man? Lava. Lava, 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 lava. Oh, memory lane.
You damn gay folks that stole all our straight colors! Well, that's fine. All I need is black and white, exactly how I view the world.
It's gone.
Hold on, what happened? Nah, I don't know why I did that. Anyway, I gotta get back to cleaning up this room. Shout out to me for showing up to my stream for me.
The following is a production of the University of North Carolina Wilmington Television through a grant to and in cooperation with South Carolina State University.
Phew, just pulled all this skin off my knee.
The long, bloody struggle against Japan in the South Pacific Island campaigns of the Second World War saw the first African-American Marines in the service of their country since the American Revolution. They trained on these grounds.
Just pulled a fucking whole. Just pried a lot of skin off of my knee.
Now the German.
Okay. I don't think he could beat Conan.
Hi, it's me.
Probably. South Sudanese. Whatever, G. My knees hurt just looking. Like, my knees, they hurt.
Until today.
You keep trying, though. You probably won't get there real soon. Africa. Hey, it's heritage, not hate, right? Come on now. Heritage, not hate. Right. Next you'll say I activate polymerization. Right. $20-meter Titan. He was like, hey, don't move. He told you not to move. Yeah, ironically, Conan's like, I don't know, maybe the strongest person right there. Well, I mean, she killed Obito, period. Conan killed Obito. Even with Kamui. She killed Obito so bad, the nigga lost an arm. And he had to use Izanagi. Conan kills Obito. He was like, if only you would use 20 million paper balls. Fucking a billion. If only you were the second Hokage or some shit. She like had paper bombs to explode for like 10 minutes or something. He was like, if only you had paper bombs for 20 minutes. Why didn't she just have 20 minutes of paper bombs, man? And the second Hokage, he's got paper bombs to just go off forever somehow. Makes absolutely no fucking sense. But he's like, yep. Yeah, Obito lost, cuz. And somehow Conan didn't have like a paper clone or some shit ready or something. I don't know. She straight up killed that nigga, cuz. You're like, how? Because like Jiraiya trained her. That's the only answer. Jiraiya trained Minato, so like, you know, I mean, basically same shit. Jiraiya trains the fourth Hokage. He trained Conan, same level, basically. That's the short answer. Yeah, cause of that nigga. There was this shit where they're like they couldn't recover Jiraiya's body or something, but there's like this detail where like it don't make sense. They're talking about like he fell in the water. Kabuto, it's like his body was too deep down or something. Like, nigga, bullshit. Word. Can't remember. It's this real specific detail to the story about like the toads and being able to go underwater, no problem. Or how snakes can dive. Yeah, cause she killed that nigga. Kamui just won't enough, cuz. It won't good enough. It's not this, like, it don't make you untouchable. $10-minute time limit. So like, you know, Naruto and B and Guy and Kakashi gotta fight Obito, and it's like, well, Conan already beat this nigga. I was like, well, like, what's taking so long? Yeah, he had the Rinnegan, but like, he ain't used this shit or nothing. I mean, she clearly beat his fucking head. He was forced to use it. Bleh. She forced the nigga, cuz. She made Obito go full Donzo, nigga. Like, what is this bullshit? Why are y'all niggas retarded, man? What's up with all these retard Naruto fans? Good gracious. Why are you so desperate for views on YouTube? I don't understand. Yeah, cuz she straight killed that nigga, cuz. Straight killed that nigga, man. Alright, it's like this, right? Obito could walk out of the particle style, be completely, he could get trapped into shit, get out of it with Kamui, be completely unaffected, and it'll destroy you on an atomic level, right? But like Conan was like, fuck all that. What's your point? It's like he died, like for real. That nigga died for real that time. Whoa. It was like, if only you used 4 billion paper bombs. I think she used like 1 billion paper bombs against him or something, cuz. Yeah, he lost his Zetsu arm. I think it's his regular arm, right? Yeah, she like took his real arm, right? Let me see. Obito crushed. Pardon. What? Pardon. I don't know, nigga. It's hard to tell. Well, like Kakashi's eye is on the other side. That's it. Kakashi's eye right there. Kakashi's eye is the left eye. You know, like the fucking hilarious shit is Obito could have been like Izanagi right there and just been completely fine, I guess. Actually, you know what? I don't know about that. They're like Izanagi doesn't restore your body, which is like real inconsistent, I guess. I don't know, man. Well, like Danzo does it, alright? Like Sasuke liquefies this nigga. And then Danzo does it, and he's like, you know, he's not liquid anymore. So, I don't know, this is just inconsistent. Sasuke turned Danzo into like juice, and he was like Izanagi. And just go, well, hey. Gotta clean this room up and stop putting it off. You know, I guess Obito could have just got out of it if he knew like an Earth style jutsu, like the tunneling thing, where you could just turn the shit into soft, whatever the fuck. Kakashi does it. Naruto does it too when he faces Neji in the Chunin exams and he like digs the tunnel and shit. He's like, damn, Obito, what the fuck? Naruto versus Neji. Where Naruto like tunnels under the ground. But like apparently Obito couldn't, or some shit. Or like how Neji couldn't see under the ground even though Naruto has like gigantic chakra. I'm like, what the fuck you mean he like uppercutted you, nigga? What the fuck? What are you talking about? Gotta be real, cuz, when you think about it. Cause like the Byakugan isn't supposed to work on clones, right? It's not supposed to. Where like with the clones, you're not supposed to be able to see their chakra. So yeah, kind of some bullshit. But the Byakugan, you can tell they're a clone because they're not supposed to have a chakra. It would have been way more interesting if Naruto had the Rasengan then, but no. Rasengan versus rotation, right? You know, get that beam ninjutsu class shit like early on. They're like, nah. Swastika, spiral cross, whatever. Weird stuff, cuz. Weird stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Tenten could have beat Haku, no problem, on paper. Let's be real about it. Where Haku's just throwing those needles and Tenten's like, oh yeah, nigga. Crazy stuff, man. back on everything. Neji would have whipped Sasuke's fucking ass. Are you joking? He would have beat that. Alright. Would it look like what would have happened? Sasuke would use the Chidori against the rotation, and it would have like ripped his hand off. Based on like when he clashes with the Rasengan and he loses his hand. Same fucking idea, right? Like, damn, well, there goes your hand, Sasuke. Which is why I guess they don't do it. Cause like Naruto would have lost his fucking hand. Right, they have it when they do the invasion thing where he knocks his dad, the Hiyashi guy. He like his rotation is a lot larger. It's like way larger. Excuse. Yup. Some people were like, why didn't Shino go on a Sasuke rescue mission? Because, like, you know, they would have actually saved his ass. So Shino, Hinata, and Kiba, they fight Konan, and they don't die, but Obito does. Yeah, you know, you could, I guess, they could do the chakra receptor thing and share the Byakugan with Akamaru and the bugs and shit. But some other, like, questionable early on. Oh, you know what? Naruto versus Kiba. Where Kiba, he has his own, like, rotation shit too, huh? He's got his own, like, Rasengan, the Fang over Fang thing. Fang over Fang. The titty twister. Rasengan's is like a fucking titty twister, god. Kabuto versus Naruto. He gave him a fucking titty twister, god. Oh. Nigga was like, hold this titty twister. And Kabuto's like totally fine, cuz he's like, what the fuck was that shit? He was fine. He won't like hurt or nothing, honestly. It was more because he fucking like got smashed into a rock. Which, you know, a rock that like takes out Obito.